So we're about to do Victorian Alberts, and we're super excited for it. Let's check it out. So first up are these plates, and they're so beautiful. They're just amazing.
And oh my gosh, this fireplace. That was the main reason I wanted to sit in this room.
It's just such an incredible room, and you have like a mini bar right there too, which is pretty cool. And we were the only ones in this room at the time. So here's another view of the fireplace, and it is incredible. The other room doesn't have a fireplace. It's only the queen room that has a fireplace.
Mm-hmm. The other room, though, does have a harpist, but you can still hear them from the Queen Victoria room.
Mm-hmm. And you have the painting up there, and here's another section behind us of like this bar area with this like flower or whatever.
And the fancy stuff.
Very fancy stuff. And once again, we're still the only ones in here, so yeah. There's the rug, it's pretty amazing, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you can, I suggest snagging that first reservation available. I believe it was 5:30.
So here's what the menu looks like to order a drink. It's all on a tablet, and here we're having like, how do we open it?
We got it!
So yes, you know, you can pick your different waters or coffees or teas. So here's the actual menu, and it's customized. They call you ahead of time, and then, you know, they ask, do you have any dietary restrictions or whatever. And Crystal was actually kind enough, and she's like, you know, he doesn't like chocolate too much, so if you can do something without chocolate or lamb, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, they asked if it was actually a dietary restriction. I'm like, no, just a high dislike. But they still were kind enough to oblige, and it made his night so much better.
So here is the pear blossom drink I got. It has a little edible flower up top with some foam, and it was delicious. So over here, I'm wondering what this is over here. Just like, it looks like a chef's hat, but why is it in a glass thing? And I'm just like, what is this? Why do they have it over there? Is it like a big candle or something? It looks like a candle.
And I say, nope, I believe that is butter, and he thinks I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm. But nope, it actually is butter, and they're about to give us butter for this bread, and there it is. So yeah, they actually dip a spoon in hot water to make these curls here, and they kind of look like roses in a way. So that's kind of cool.
Kind of adds to the romantic aspect of the dinner.
Mm-hmm. And then there's salt on the side here in this fancy like salt holder or whatever. At the end of the night, they melt down the rest of the chef's butter hat, I guess if we want to call it that, and they actually use that butter to make the other dishes for the next evening, which is kind of cool. They don't let it go to waste.
Because fun fact, that is 5 pounds of butter.
5 pounds, it's a lot of butter. So for our first course, we had the imperial caviar with summer melon terrine. I think that's how you say it, and this was pretty good.
It was probably, I think, only my second time having caviar, and I'm sorry, but I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. There's an option for an extra international caviar tasting, but that was, I think, like $100 or something crazy like that, where we're just like, we're gonna pass. Actually, no, it was $295, so it was a little bit outside of our price range for this trip. Okay, so here we have the Maine Lobster with saffron and paprika gremolata. Gremolata. It is delicious. We have this like thing sitting on, I think that's lobster, and it's just looking all weird. It's like a plasticky, it almost looks like a plastic jellyfish or something like that.
It really kind of does. They're like a little really thin jello slice.
Mm-hmm. That was kind of weird to eat, but I mean, it is a delicious meal because I love lobster, and this is so delicious.
I can go back and forth on lobster. To be honest, I am a lobster newbie, so I don't know for sure, but I believe that the tiny piece with the plastic-looking covering, I believe that was the part that was from the body versus the other was from the leg, or it might be vice versa. Either way, the piece with the plastic thing, oh my gosh, that will convert me to being a lobster lover.
So this dish shows off the Glacier 51 toothfish and Alaskan king crab with French white asparagus.
So kind of a fun fact, the way in which the asparagus ends up being white instead of green is that as the asparagus starts to grow, they continually bury it back underground, and so that's how come it doesn't get that nice green color, and it creates a slightly subtle different flavor. It was actually really, really good.
This is one of my favorite meals. The toothfish was pretty good, but for me, the Alaskan king crab, which is, I think, that circle thing, that part was absolutely delicious to me. And the white asparagus, it was the first time I've ever had it, so that was a treat, and it tasted definitely different.
I don't even think I had heard of white asparagus before that. It was really great too to have the servers go through and talk about each course with you, so you get a little bit of the background, and they make sure that you understand what you're eating, what you're being presented with. That's probably the best part of this whole meal, in my opinion.
Over here, we can see that Crystal's getting tea made for her at the table with this special machine. And we'll go over more about how this works later on, but yeah, tea. So this is an extra bonus dish this chef included. It wasn't on our menu, so I don't really remember what it's called right now. But yeah, it was basically a lot of peas, green peas in it, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was like a little pasta piece with some pea puree, I believe, at least a little bit, and something else. I wish we could remember exactly what this was. That's the one downside to having the bonus, but who's going to turn down a tasty bite?
So this dish is the poutine ballotine with ramp noci and house-made ricotta. And it's definitely interesting because it really doesn't look how you'd expect it to look.
I think overall this might have been my least favorite of the courses. There's just not much for me. I'm not into the crunchy piece, and but I think part of that might have been artichoke hearts down in there, I think, and I think that might have been my favorite part.
So here we actually have a different item than what most people got. Most people got the lamb here. But since I don't like lamb too much, we got the curabata pork with dates and garbanzo bean croquette. And I like pork, so this was a pretty good one for me. I like the garbanzo bean croquette. It went amazingly with the pork, and it was just all delicious.
The pork was just seasoned, flavored beautifully. That was one of the best bites of the meal.
So here we have a couple things. We have the Australian Kobe style beef with bone marrow pain perdu and chanterelles. And we have the Miyazaki Japanese beef, which is an optional upgrade for $55. But you have to get this because you can compare the Kobe style beef with this Miyazaki Japanese beef, and the difference is light and day. The Japanese Miyazaki beef, it's like butter in your mouth. It's so delicious.
I'm actually was surprised to be a huge lover of the Australian Kobe style beef. For me, that was my favorite part of this dish. And as you can probably tell, this dish is essentially your main course, even though you have like 11 courses. It's still kind of small, but delicious in every bite.
Okay, so we're going to explain how this tea gets made now. So first they boil the water underneath, and then after they boil the water rises up to that top part where it mixes with the tea leaves, and then after that they turn off the lighter below, and that causes like a difference in air pressure or something like that, and the water returns back down to that bottom portion. And it's the first time we went here, we had our minds blown because it is so cool. And we ordered it several times this trip just because we like watching it.
I think I ordered 3 different teas and a coffee. I was just enjoying it so much. Their teas are fantastic. And it's like you're getting tea or coffee from a chemistry set is what it feels like. Be sure to watch your burner though. You want it to get to being hot but not overly cooked. You don't want to overboil your tea leaves. So sometimes they might be a little busy in between tables. I recommend keeping an eye on the burner yourself.
So here we have the Ocala blueberry ice cream, which is actually my favorite dish of the night, and not just because it's dessert. The blueberry-ness of this ice cream was just so amazing, and this is like a limited edition thing where they weren't having this too often.
And I'm not sure what that top piece was. It was white, but it sort of reminded me of some sort of candy or something from when I was little, where you put it in your mouth and it just tastes like a really nice, gentle sugar that just disintegrates. It was just sort of like some weird blast from the past, but in an upgraded fashion.
So here's another bonus dish that the chef gave us. This is actually a rhubarb like ice cream.
And I love anything rhubarb, so I was super ecstatic that we got this. I was just dying. It's like strawberry rhubarb. Yes!
Yeah, this is absolutely, this is really good in itself, and it's a surprise because we weren't expecting it. And rhubarb isn't something you usually find in dessert, so this is a treat. Okay, so here we have the Grand Marnier souffle, and I think I just butchered that.
All I know is you devoured that dessert. 2 times now we've gone here and he's gotten it, and I've wanted to get one little bite. Nope. I swear, no matter what he says, I think this is his favorite course.
Yeah, this is actually, it is probably tied up there with the ice cream. But this is delicious, and I actually got I got the souffle instead of Crystal's chocolate over here, because I'm not too much of a fan of chocolate. So she got this chocolate bar, and I got the souffle.
Yeah, it's some sort of banana chocolate tart thing. I have to admit, I think next time I want to say I have a dislike of chocolate. It's great and all, but his souffle is, oh my gosh, looks amazing. And it's so hard to find places that do souffles still these days. But look at that dessert. It looks like there's still gold on it or something. It looked so pretty to eat. One of those things where I'm just like, no, I can't eat that. I'm going to be eating gold.
So up next is another deviation from the usual menu. So because I don't like chocolate, they actually gave me these little bars. What were these called again?
I'm not sure what they're called, but they're kind of similar to like the Sun-Kissed gummy chews or something like that, like a little fruit chew with a little bit of sugar aspect to it. Whereas for most of the people, they wheel out a cart with like, I think 8 or 9 different chocolate choices, and you can have as few or as many as you like, although by this point of the night, you're probably stuffed full, which is why I only grabbed 2 pieces myself. But it's really nice that they have an alternative for those that don't like chocolate.
That part was so nice because, I was so worried last time we were stuck with the cart, and it's just like, oh, hopefully I actually get good dessert that isn't chocolate. It's just, yep, I got lots of good dessert. And I also wonder how many chocolates you could actually get from the cart before they cut you off. Just like, ma'am, you've had too many, you gotta walk home tonight, and we don't want you wobbling over from being too full. So yeah, I wonder what the actual limit is. Okay, so that was her meal at the Queen Victoria room. And I think we would definitely eat at Victoria and Albert's again. Next time we might try and aim for the chef's table, but if you're gonna eat there and you have the choice between the main room and the Queen Victoria room, definitely choose the Queen Victoria room.
It has a much nicer, more intimate feel, and they keep the door open between the 2 rooms, so you don't have to worry about missing out on the harvest, which is really great because you'll start to slowly notice in your background that you're hearing some Disney tunes or some other classic romantic tunes, and it's just a really, really nice addition to the atmosphere.
So the base price of the menu at Victoria and Albert's is $235 per person. With the extra add-ons and stuff, that could jump pretty high because they offer a wine pairing with each of the courses for $150. So depending on how many upgrades you do and also how many extra mixed drinks you get, you could be looking up to like $500-600 per person.
And I still think that's actually very minimal because each mixed drink is about $25 or more. And if you just even do that one additional caviar option, that was almost $300 addition. Additional.
So depending on how hard you go, you could easily spend $1,000 per person if you go super hard. But if you're looking just to say you ate at Victoria and Albert's, $235, you know, plus tip. And they definitely work for their tip. The waiters and chefs here were all amazing. They very friendly. They were on top of it. If you ever ran out of something, you know, they were, you know, there to help you. So yeah, that was our trip to Victoria and Albert's. We definitely recommend it. We have some extra footage of afterwards here that we're gonna insert. But yeah, thanks for watching. So we're checking out the bars, and look what they did to Nemo. Look what they did to his boy. He's in soap. Wow, look at all these bath bombs. Birthday cake, I'm sure that one tastes good. Ooh, Mickey. We got Sweetheart over here. Ooh, they have wishes. Sugary sandalwood, freesia, and sparkling champagne. That one's not right. It's still green. You gotta wait to put it back until it's all purple. Look at the tiny chairs that they have, the tiny little table, and then they have a tiny TV set up for the kids. That's just so adorable.